Okay, here we go, YouTubers. Hi, I'm Steve Geddes. I've got a little something that I've been doing for a while now, over 6 years. I used to drink a lot, okay? Somewhere along the line I got smart and quit. However, somewhere along the line, a lot of what I had in my mouth by way of dental work fell out. Not all of it, but maybe at least half of it. And what had changed, the only thing that had changed is I stopped putting alcohol in my mouth, ever. So I said, well, maybe we can compromise on this a little bit. Being an alcoholic, I have absolutely no desire to drink any of this stuff. So if you have a problem with alcohol consumption, in the very least, and you think this would cause you a problem, do not do this. Believe me. The consequences are too great. But if you think you have a problem with something in your mouth, like I do, I've got a mouth full of holes where my dental work has fallen out and it was starting to hurt. You might give this a try. Now, to let you know, this has not been approved by the Medical Association or the American Dental Association or the FDA or anything else. So, I'm not promising anything. I'm just saying this has worked for me for over 5 years, over 6 years. Maybe. I'm not very good at keeping up with dates, at least over 5 years. All right, what I do now is I make my own mouthwash. Bought some vodka to start with because vodka was part of the program. And this works just fine. A little 375, I think, milliliter. Yeah, 375 milliliter container. And I marked it about, what I considered a third of the way up. Because this is a 3-part conversion here, 3-part mixture. 1 part is hydrogen peroxide. 3% hydrogen peroxide, buy it just about anywhere, grocery store or pharmacy. I start out by putting about a third of it in here. Third container, which makes the final product 1% hydrogen peroxide. Now this doesn't say you can drink it, not even says you can't, but hadn't hurt me yet. Okay, that being done, I then add my secret ingredient, 50 milliliter tablet of zinc, and I bought this at Walmart. You can buy it other places. Just as long as it's dry, it should work. Now, to make it dissolve easier, you can use a couple of tablespoons, put the tablet in there, and then crunch them together. It works pretty well. At that point, it should dissolve fairly well. I take it a step further because I took chemistry somewhere along the line and I found this mortar and pestle at an artist shop in downtown Aiken. She said she used it to mix up some of her colors. Well, I use it to grind up my zinc tablet. Having done that, I put it in. It doesn't matter if I spill a little bit. Mix it around a little bit. Then I top it off with good 80 proof Whartons. Cheapest stuff on the shelf. Cheaper the better. Because all you have here is ethanol, which is ethyl alcohol, and water. And anything else in there is impurity, which the maker tries to avoid adding. So I then fill up to just about the top my 375 milliliters. And to try to avoid having anybody do anything with this, you see how I labeled it mouthwash, do not drink. Shake it up. And it's ready to use. Now the way I use it, I take a small swig, and you can measure it if you want to. And that's what I do twice a day, right after I brush my teeth in the morning and at night. And like I say, actually I started doing this right after I went to my dentist and showed him my dental insurance. They said fine, we'll take that. And then they found a tooth that they said had to come out. Well, okay. He said, but we don't use the kind of anesthesia that you use, that your insurance covers, so you'll have to make a $300 payment to start with. I said, well, I'll think about that. And I did. Actually went and saw another dentist. Told me the same thing. I think that's how they get well over the low prices they charge to the dental insurance company. Anyhow, I'm not going to tell you there's anything wrong with what they're doing. I'm going to tell you, though, that having not had that tooth extracted, I've been using this, and the tooth has given me absolutely no problem. Neither have any of the several dozen cavities, I'm guessing, at least a dozen, maybe 2, that are in my head that used to bother me before I started taking this. So if you want to give it a try, you saw how to do it, give it a try. If you have anything that's bothering you, try it 3 or 4 times a day first. And then, if it actually stops hurting, like my tooth did, just go to 2 times a day. Right after you brush in the morning, right after you brush at night. Hope it works for you. It works fine for me. Bye.